Recording is on. Recording is on. Recording is on.
Okay, we've heard that now. Hey, I've got a quick question. One of the things on the state call that I will need to report is how many educational events we had during the month of June. An educational event can be the way we count these. So like if you did a information table for each person who worked, and each day they work counts as one event. You can get me your numbers. If you know them off the top of your head, let me know what they are. If not, shoot them to me via email tonight or tomorrow, because I need to get that report to Dale. He wants it ASAP for the state call, and that's for the month of June. So that's back a couple weeks now, but anyway. If you know the number for July that you've had so far, if you break those down as between June and July, you could send me both of them. That would be very good. So a couple of questions I'd like to kick around tonight for discussion. One has to do with the follow-up tool, and we're doing the follow-up tool now so that one person covers all the follow-ups for the whole state. So anybody that shows up as a new petition signer, he follows up. You know, Patrick Romack sends out an email welcoming him and so forth. Should we return that to the district captain? And if there's no district captain, to the region captain? Because what's happened is we've kind of cut off the district captain from knowing, you know, week to week who is signing up that's new in their house district. And so I don't know. I'd just like to have a discussion about that. What do you guys think?
I've got kind of an alternative view. I think it works really good the way we've been doing it, Gary, with the exception that I think that the district captains should be following up with a phone call, because all of his communications are by email. That's all Patrick does is send them, you know, the email communication. And so they really need a voice to go with that. And if you do one of those elementary searches in Citizen Builder and you find out the most recent people to sign, it'll tell you who they are, and you can just go back and make those phone calls. You know, and it's not a difficult thing. But I think the human voice in there and that contact and plus the information that they can gain as to could they be future volunteers? Do they really want to be involved? How deep into this do they really want to get? You can find out a lot of those things in a phone call that you'll never get on an email.
Okay.
I agree with Dale. And that's pretty much what I'm doing now. You know, I just click on that created at, and when you do that, it flips to the oldest petition signers, and then you click it again and you've got the most current ones. And that's what I've showed my district captains to use is, you know, go and see who's signed up recently and call those people.
Okay. But you like having Pat go ahead and Patrick going ahead and send out those emails right away?
Yes.
Okay. Vicki, what about you? You think that's a workable way to do it?
Well, I don't know. My district captain, you know, I've got a good one and I've got some not so good that don't really follow up on that stuff, and I end up having to do it anyway. So I'm
okay.
I don't know.
In an ideal world, would that be a workable way to handle it?
I think it's the district captain's job to get people in their district, to follow up on people in their district. I've got one that follows up on Fridays, and when I go back and check, it's like he says he did it, but there's no notes in there, and I end up having to do it anyway. So a lot of times I have to call the district captains and tell them they've got people there that they need to contact. So in my world, it's just as easy for me to do it.
Okay. Thomas, Mike, you have any thoughts on this?
Do what? What? Well, I told Mr. Tipton, don't want to get Dell confused with the other Dell. The way I feel about this is that I go through the follow-up tool every day. I don't wait for Patrick to go through it. I hit the people that I hit the people that's in my regions. Sometimes if I wait for Patrick to hit them, they might be 2 or 3 days down the line.
Okay. Are you both emailing and calling, or what are you doing?
I call them and I email them and I text them. Most
Okay.
people, I get replies from texts. And so I kind of depend upon if they got that little box checked or not checked. I'll send it to them anyway. Yeah.
I try to call them first. If I don't get them on the phone and I can't leave a message, well, I may go ahead and leave a message, but then I try texting them too. And I get responses both ways. So
I haven't got my campfire yet, so I can send up smoke signals.
I think doing both a text and a voicemail is pretty effective in the sense that at least you know they should know that they've heard from you and that we're interested in connecting with them. So what about Mike? You have any thoughts on that? You're muted, Mike, if you're talking.
For a while, I was getting in touch with them as soon as I saw them in there. And I wasn't calling them, but I was sending them that. One of the emails is the standard templates that says, hey, you got a district captain in that area. And, or I might send the one that says, hey, there are no district captains and we would love to have you be a district captain. But then Patrick would get busy and then beat me to it. And so we went back and forth like that for a little while. And I was advised by my state guy to stop doing that. Let him do that. He's the designated greeter person. So I kind of let that slide and just do it like Cheryl does it. And ever so often look in there and see who's new in the region. But I've got a couple of new district captains that are happening, and they'll be able to do some of that too now, and that will be exciting. And we'll get them started off on tomorrow night.
Okay, good. Good. One of the things, just kind of thinking out loud, that as we're recruiting district captains, one of the things that I think we need to think about is district captains need to be leaders. And so hopefully they're already a leader, or we can develop them as leaders. And they're not just people who are going to, help out with things, but they're people that are going to take the initiative to lead. And hopefully they can find a few other people around them to be volunteers that will help or come to meetings and so forth, that they can develop their own team that they're leading. And I think, at least from my thinking, people I'm interviewing, I'm going to be trying to figure out and be asking them questions to help me understand if they really have the ability and the desire to be leaders, or if they just kind of are along for the ride. Anyway, I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
I think I'm going to change the way I approach these people. I used to get so excited when I got someone who volunteered to be a district captain because I needed them so bad. But when you get them and you got to do their work for them, I'm going to change the way I vet them. I just haven't gotten any applicants lately for district captain.
Yeah. Well, I think it's helpful too if you set that expectation that you're looking to them to be, not just a soldier, but a leader. That'll hopefully clarify that, maybe get people that are more inclined to take the lead and take initiative in getting things done.
Gary, I think too, if we had a sort of a, I want to say like a beginning task list, just to get them started a little bit and get some success under their belt. Like maybe, do these 5 things this week, and maybe take them through like a 5-week track. It's like, for example, finish your training, DC 100 series, the week 1, and call and introduce yourself. Maybe that's 1. Maybe 2 is call and introduce yourself to the districts, to the representatives in your district. Might be number 2. Number 3, contact your people and tell them that you are their district captain and set a meeting with them. Okay, and then maybe that's 1. Maybe that's the first week. Second week, you do something. You progress them on down the road a little bit, so they've got absolute things they need to do, because there's so many things and activities and things going on that I think they get lost in the shuffle. I don't even know what to tell them. I know to tell them to do that training. Go do that training. But if we had, it's like a little package, and we said not the training manual, not that thing. That's 50 pages long. I'm saying something that is a condensed thing where they'll get in the habit of doing the things that will actually develop the region, and everybody's doing it alike.
Yeah. I think most of that stuff is on the leadership training, and really that's, as you mentor people through training, you can kind of pace them through that. But I agree with you. If you just say, here's the training sheet, do all this stuff, it's easy for people to feel overwhelmed and not really know what to do next. But if you set out for them and say, you know, this week, call your state rep, this week, recruit a petition signer, and so on like that. Give them a specific assignment and ask them to do that, and they call you when they've got it done. That's probably a good strategy.
I'll tell you another item that you could add to that would be really important to us, and that is find out what the top 3 activities are that are in your house district. What are they? Are they a fair? Are they, a flower and patio show? Is there a gun show? Whatever. But the top 3 things where people get together and convene, get those listed and then send them to me. And then you can start pushing them to, okay, get the details on what it takes to do a booth there. And make sure, at least in each one of those districts, that we are participating as convention estates in each one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where the people are going to be congregating that we will get to sign the petition. And
Are you talking about after they're trained, or are you talking about during training for them to do this stuff?
well, Victoria, that's a great question. Let me tell you how it was for me. I was all excited about doing something as the district captain, and I had this burning desire to do something. Okay. And the only thing that I knew to do was to go get signatures on the petition. That I knew because Tom drilled it in my head. Okay. He said, you're nobody if you can't get petition signers. Okay. And I had
Nice.
I had this desire. I had to do something, but I was doing this freaking training all the time. You know, I mean, I was reading and watching and, okay, fine. But I'm not making anything happen. And so before I was finished being trained, then I said, I got to be in the fair. We got a fair here. I need to be in that fair. I mean, I heard people talking about gun shows and stuff. So I wanted to be in that fair. So I went and bought me a fair, what do you call it? A booth, exhibitor pass or whatever it is, and got in there. So, yeah, I would say do it as you are training. Okay, that way we'll get busy, and because you get bogged down in the training a little bit sometimes, Vicky, and I didn't. I just kept going until I was done with it. But a lot of people do. They get wandering off, and they don't have anything else to get them anchored in. But when you do a fair or you do something like that, and you've got a bunch of people signed up, then you feel like, man, okay, I made a difference. I added to our numbers right here. And that will kind of co-motivate them to get back in there, get some more of that training done. Get this all finished and stuff. But I think it's good to have them participating at that level. I even had one that didn't do a very good job with the fair, but it didn't matter. He was so excited when it was over. He couldn't believe it. And he met those people, and talked to them and stuff. He said, nobody knew about it. I mean, it was all it was all kind of a motivational thing for him. I mean, so anyway.
Well, the reason I asked is because I've had people in training work at gun shows and things like that, and didn't really know the proper things to say. So I kind of like them to have at least responding to opposition and their district captain training done, you know, what they're supposed to say, get their elevator speech ready before I turn them loose. But that's why I asked.
That's a great question and a great comment. But I'll tell you, my people that are becoming district captains slowly, very slowly, they get a good idea of what to say because I meet with them every month right now, and every month they hear the George Mason story. Every single month. And if you can tell the George Mason story, you've told the Convention of States story. And then all you have to do is say, would you like to join us by signing our petition? If they say no, that's fine.
Interesting. Okay, I don't know the George Mason story.
You don't know what?
The George Mason story.
Yes, you do.
You mean the part where he says, wait a minute, we haven't considered another option? Yeah.
Then the part that he doesn't sign the Constitution.
We're not talking about that part.
He brought the point to everybody's attention, and that's the important part of the story, I guess, for our purposes.
Yeah, that there's an alternative to amend the Constitution, and that is we the people.
Yeah.
This Convention of States.
Yeah, I basically tell them that when the founders were all happy with their way of amending the Constitution, they were ready to put the big stamp of approval on it. And the guy in the back of the room, just like you said, I've got a problem with this. And then when they said, what is it, George? He said, well, what are you going to do when the Congress stops listening to the people? And then they looked around and said, holy cow, he's got something. And with no debate, zero debate, they've been debating everything for 4 months. No debate. They said, this has to be in there because yes, Congress could put tyranny on the people. And so that's what a Convention of States is. Would you like to sign my petition so that we can get this done?
And you know, I don't know about anybody else, but whenever I hear that story, I envision Thomas Schultz standing in the back of that room.
Oh, I do too. No, it is absolutely Thomas Schultz.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had a little, unlike Tom, he had a little ponytail, I think. But otherwise, yeah, there is a resemblance there.
Mike, quick question for you. Brandon Garrett, what is left for onboarding him? And Larry, can you put Brandon Garrett on the training sheet? I don't think he's on there yet.
I've already did. I've already asked Larry.
Yeah,
Okay.
I put him on there yesterday.
Yeah, so he should be on there.
Okay.
There's nothing left on onboarding on him. Nothing. Okay.
Well,
And
when I looked, it still showed him as in process.
how do I have to change that then?
You have to go down to the very bottom of the page and click the assign button and put a note
Oh,
in.
all right. My fault. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, that should be all that's left for him.
Yeah, Gary, I'm curious. I got that email for the people that are attending the conference in Orlando.
Yeah.
And we had to sign up for breakout sessions, and the first breakout session I'm signed up for has to do with onboarding, vetting, and all that kind of stuff with new volunteers or district captains. And supposedly we're going to be told what the best practices, quote unquote, are. And I'm really curious to see what that is and how it compares to what we've been doing.
Yeah, I signed up for that too.
You guys are way ahead of me. I haven't. I'm sure I got the email here somewhere. I haven't looked at it
You
yet.
probably did, but
That
You
sounds
only
like a
got
good
till
idea.
July 31st to sign up for it.
I have till the 31st. Okay, well I got lots of time.
I have do have this comment to make about that, about the vetting. I did bring a DC on board back a few months, Ricky Sasser, and he says I do more vetting to bringing people on to the militia than you guys do. At least I get a police report, and I thought, gee whiz, maybe we can get an FBI report. Gee, man, Christmas, we like to take people at their word. It's to be honorable about what they tell us. But, there again, you might have people that needs to be jailed. What can I say?
I make it a practice that if they are less than 98 degrees Fahrenheit, that I do not send them through the vetting process.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you've got somebody who's an operative from the John Birch Society or one of the George Soros funded organizations, MoveOn.org or whatever, they could come in and play the game, and there would be very little chance that you would catch them, until you had some significant interaction with them. I mean, they know what to say.
Now, speaking of people, saying Daryl Boggs, he's got this new educational thing about him. And we debated everything he brings up on onto what is that? Slack. We debate everything. I mean, it's good. I mean, from what does this word mean and everything else. And the way I see his definitions of words is that he takes them right out of the newest college dictionary.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, what you say might be true to you right now, but give yourself 50 years. When you're my age, you'll probably look back and say, he was right, I was wrong. He wrote back and said, probably. Okay. And about this training thing.
Yeah.
We went through this debate with Mr. Parrish. It seems like years ago about how to go through the training. And to me, yeah, let them do the Convention of States University and train them. And there's things in the state training that really probably doesn't need to be there, and probably need to get rid of it. Just one person's opinion, because if you go through Mr. Boggs's training sheet, he says, I found something that's compatible with the one I can't get to. So there's compatible things out there, but what was I saying? Oh,
Well, when it,
Thomas, why don't you get with Dale and Larry, because they're kind of working on revamping training and looking at all the training and seeing if there's stuff we should change. So if there's stuff you think ought to be, re-examined, get with Dale and Larry and work on that. Okay.
yes, sir.
Well,
Susan, is that you?
Gary, he has mentioned some of those things. I actually referred him back to you because I think as we came about deciding how to configure some of the training sheets, we knew that some of the state videos were the links were broken, or the information was outdated, I guess. So I don't know where to get that info. That's pretty much where I was at with it.
One thing that Darrell wrote on his sheet is that there's a lot of links that was stuff that was posted on YouTube cannot be gotten to.
Yeah, they've either
Okay.
deleted them or taken them down or whatever. They're gone.
Okay. If those things are gone or whatever, we need to just let me know and we'll figure out a plan to how to replace them or take them out altogether. If there's stuff that's just plain missing, we need to address those.
well, Gary, Larry and I have been working on that. We've kind of started over, not necessarily using the old links, but kind of rebuilding from new based upon recommendations from people. So I think our product, whenever we're done with it, I don't think we'll have any problem with broken links.
Okay. That sounds good.
I got a question. On the training, are the people that apply for different positions going to have different training?
Yes.
I mean, like if they're a district captain, they'll get training just for district captains. And if they're legislative liaisons, they'll get the legislative training. Or are you going to have all that on one sheet?
Well, there will be foundational training that they will each go through that will be very similar, and then there will be foundational to COS, and then there will be specific things then for their role. But they will be tabs, so they will be on different sheets. So you'll have the volunteers on a sheet, the district captains on a sheet, the communications people on a sheet, the SIA people on a sheet,
That's
etc.
great.
Well, but right now we have all the district captain training on a completely separate sheet, and all the other volunteers are on another sheet on different tabs.
Yeah. Which is probably what we will want to stay with, don't you think?
Well, the reason I ask is when you watch some of the Tuesday night training for district captains, the things that they are teaching them how to do and what to do wasn't on the training sheets. So I've got a district captain that faithfully watches those Tuesday night, and other district captains that don't watch it at all, and they're not on the same plane at all.
Yeah, well, I think the whole purpose of the Tuesday night training is to add value to the whole district captain role and give and explain above and beyond what you've received in the normal training, whatever the different topic is they may be covering.
But when you don't have everybody watching it, you've got some that are doing it and some that aren't, and
Yeah, that's their call.
Yeah. It's kind of inevitable that, a volunteer organization, you're going to have people that are volunteering basically at different levels, and some are going to be more committed and better trained than others.
but when it comes to district captains, I think that's an important role. I think they should all be getting the same training, but I guess some of that's my fault because I don't watch the Tuesday night training, and so I'm not teaching it to my district captain. So I got to be more careful in my vetting.
Yeah.
I don't watch Tuesday night training. What is it?
You know what I was
In fact,
told?
I never
when I
took
was
the
a
Tuesday
district
night
captain?
training.
I was told Tuesday night training is for states that haven't passed. I don't need to watch it.
That was, we did tell people that a lot, and it was, I think a few years ago, it was really oriented toward the non-pass states. Now I think a lot more of that stuff has become, they've added so much to the training of district captains, and so there's a lot more there for them.
I've watched it several times. It's not just for district captains. Apparently, they invite any volunteer that is interested in furthering their education with COS to watch it and engage. Jenny repeatedly asks people, if they're interested in servant leadership, and she pushes that quite a bit. And the other people that they have on there, they feature different district captains from several different states to talk about, discuss different topics. Gary was on there a couple of weeks ago, I know. At least I believe. Yeah, you were on there a couple of weeks ago, weren't you?
I think they had a recording of me.
Yeah.
I was out on there live. One other topic I'd like to kick around with you guys for a couple minutes, and that is going back a year and a half, 2 years ago, Dale Parrish kind of made a rule that region captains could not be also assigned as a district captain within their region. And fundamentally, it was so that the MEP report would reflect just what district captains were doing and not what region captains were doing. And it's come up recently. We had an event that Vicky ran because the district captain who was going to be involved came down with COVID. And so she ran it along with our regional event coordinator and a volunteer activist, and there was no district captain actually involved. And so even though it was a successful event, went over, 3-4 days, nothing shows up on the MEP from that. Should we rethink that, and how should we handle these things?
Rethink it.
I agree.
It's just that as region captains, we can divide our if we're a DC, we can divide what we do between the DC and the RC. And if you can't do that, then
Are you doing that?
did I do that?
Yeah, are you doing that?
I'm not a DC anymore.
Well, you divide your well. Is that cheating?
But
I'm just asking.
well, you're going to have to speak. My ears don't work anymore.
Let's get a thing off. Maybe you can hear.
That's why they're there.
I know.
What about it, Dale or Mike? Either of you guys have a thought about what we should do to like address that, or what do you think?
You know, I guess, Gary, what's the purpose of the MEP ultimately?
I think the MEP, Dale wants to be able to measure, what's going on around the state. And it's also a way of, he likes the idea of recognizing people who are, doing a good job, and also to identify, where nothing's happening.
So it's my understanding, and I haven't completely run this to ground, but supposedly everything that we enter into the COS Action app is ultimately dumped into the LMS in Citizen Builder.
Okay.
And so there is a way that it has been done. I think somebody has already done it, where you can run a report that shows the sum total of all of those statistics that have been reported, and then you can break them out by individual. And if that is the case, then that would basically accomplish everything you're trying to do with the MEP.
Right. If we get all the volunteer activists as well as everybody else to use the COS Action app, right?
Well, I mean, right now the MEP isn't even for volunteer activists, right? It's just for district captains.
Right.
It's only for
Yep.
district captains, so.
And so this would give you, if that reporting to me is accurate, that would give you an idea of what the volunteer activists, district captains, and region captains. It'll tell you what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
I like that idea better than the MEP.
Yeah. Well, let's pursue that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm not.
Yeah, I thought that LMS was just for legislative information, but I'm told it's actually kind of a dumping ground for everything.
Well, Dale, this is a situation. I don't have a district captain in 79, and that was where the Bluffton 4-H fair was. We not only did a parade, but we had an information table for 4 days, one day of which we got rained out, so we were actually there 3. And there's no record of it anywhere because there's nobody that worked at that is on the MEP sheet.
Yeah.
It was all volunteers. And Paul Phillips and his wife, because she's the events coordinator now for my region, were there for the parade and set up and tear down and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was only me and volunteers that worked the table, and Gary.
Gary, there isn't any reason why a volunteer can't enter activities on the COS Action app, is there?
I think anybody that's downloaded the app should be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we've got, speaking just what happened with me in Region 1, we had some volunteers that were dealing with more statistical output than the district captains were, some of them.
Exactly. I've got some really good volunteers that show up for a lot of stuff and they don't get registered anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, let's try to pursue that. See if we can get that report from LMS.
Yeah, I tried to format that myself, and I couldn't come up with information that matched, and I was using myself personally, and so there's something that I may be doing wrong. I need to run that past Brenda, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Speaking of the app, everybody should pull your phone out and make your report for being on this call tonight. Mike, while I got you for a sec, do you want me to bring some of those trifold brochures to you? And if so, how many would you like? You're still muted right now.
Which trifold brochures?
These. We updated them for 19 states, and
Oh, yeah, bring a dozen of them.
just a dozen. Like I've got hundreds.
You got, oh, we'll bring 50 then, or 60.
I'll bring you a whole bunch.
All right.
While we're on that subject, I got all that stuff from Gary Ridenauer. I have a huge box, bigger than a case, of constitutions.
Oh, okay.
National sent him 1,000 of them for the theater outing that he had, and he brought them all over to my house. He brought me a case of the pocket things, but I need those. I'm out of them. So, but if
Okay.
anybody needs constitutions, I got 1,000 of them.
Do you want me to try to bring some of those to you, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will, Vicki. I'll see if I can connect with you tomorrow because I'm going down to Mike's meeting tomorrow night. So,
Yeah, I have to be in the afternoon. My daughter's showing at the 4-H fair in the morning.
okay. All right. We should be able to
Not
work
my
that.
daughter, my granddaughter.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything that we need to chat about tonight? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.